Hi, welcome to another Culture Mavens. I'm here with Rabbi Susan Nanus. How are you, Susan?
Hi, Tom. So nice to see you. And I have my windows open, the air conditioner off. It's cool. It's breezy. Though this weekend it's supposed to be 100 degrees. So let's enjoy it while we can, right?
Yeah. No, I had the best Sunday night. We put on the radio and played KCRW's broadcasting old Hollywood Bowl performances, and we sat by our in our backyard and had an outdoor meal, listening to the music. So it was like being at the Hollywood Bowl.
Right. The Hollywood. Yeah. Well, next year in Hollywood. Amen. Right. So, I wanted to start with just our own Wilshire Boulevard Temple Slichot service that is happening Saturday night, September 12th, an evening of sanctity. It's going to be beautiful music and prayer. We're going to be combining our efforts and our talents with Stephen Wise Temple, with Sinai Temple, with ourselves, and with Valley Beth Shalom. So it's having new partners. We sort of change partners every year, but it should be great. And their senior rabbis will be teaching a little bit. So there's something for the mind and the soul. And I hope you'll all join us for Slichot. And then there's a program in Israel called Slichot from the Kotel. It's sponsored by Israel Bonds, and that is going to be on September 15th. And it's going to have Israeli singers. The mayor of Jerusalem is going to speak. The finance minister of Israel is going to speak. And it's going to be a beautiful Slichot experience if you'd like to see how they do it at the wall. So there's two options for Slichot this year. We hope you'll at least go to one of them. If I have to make a choice, I'd say come to ours at the temple. Because I know it'll be fantastic.
Well, this week I've got all Israel offerings, because one of the benefits, such as it is, of the current situation is that things that normally you would have to go to in person are being put online. And so the Israel Festival, which takes place every year in June, was first pushed back till September, and then they decided to take it online. And so people here in LA can experience some of the fantastic performances that they have at the Israel Festival. Now, the director of the Israel Festival now is Eyal Sher, who was a longtime Los Angeles resident as a screenwriter and also working for the Jerusalem Foundation. This year is the 60th anniversary of the Eichmann trial in Jerusalem, and they put together a multimedia experience that includes readings from the trial, from people who wrote about the trial, including Hannah Arendt and the prosecutor Gideon Hausner, and witnesses at the trial and regular people, how it impacted their lives, witnessing it and listening to it 60 years ago. Usually in September, there's the Israel Jazz Festival, and that is now also going to be part of the Israel Festival between September 8th and September 10th. And a lot of incredible Israeli musical performers, Dudu Tasu and the Kuwaiti sisters. Dudu is one of the great rock and roll performers of Israel, and his grandparent were the Kuwaiti brothers who kind of brought back to life Iraqi music in Israel. And he's found some young performers to join him in playing that music, and it's really special. And then there's also a special with Netta, who won the Eurovision contest, and Ron Barzilai performing. So it'll be really interesting.
Are they going to have any live audiences for that, or is it all just online?
Some of the performances are going to be outdoors and have live audiences.
I mean, it's kind of like the Edinburgh Festival Plus, because Edinburgh Festival is just theater. So I know the Israel Festival is, hugely attended.
It's a great treat for us here in LA to be able to watch it.
Absolutely. So your theme was Israel, so I want to just transition to a theme of women. And I have two really cool programs produced by women, but not necessarily only for women. First of all, our beloved Jewish Women's Theater is doing a lot of great programming, and they are doing a special Zoom event called The Comedy of Coping with Cindy Chupak and Annabelle Gurwitch. Now, Cindy Chupak was a writer for Seinfeld. She's hilarious.
Sex in the City.
Yes, Sex in the City. That's right. She's hilarious. So this is this Sunday at 11 a.m. our time, and you can register. It is free, and we love Jewish Women's Theater. They're always such high quality, and so if you want to have a little comedy with your coffee on Sunday, you should check that out. Then I got an email from my beloved friend, Dr. Diane White Clayton, letting me know about an event called Women Sing, celebrating 100 years since the passing of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the vote. And it's going to be all kinds of different women singing songs, a lot of them gospel music and spiritual. Some of it will be through the eyes of African-American women. It's hard to believe that women couldn't vote until 1920. You know, actually, I read that in Switzerland, women didn't get the vote until 1970 or something around that time. So it's shocking.
It is, but let me throw in the detail that women at Wilshire Boulevard Temple could vote earlier than 1920. I think they could vote beginning in 1911.
California?
No. Temple for on the board and all kinds of temple decisions. They were more egalitarian at Wilshire Boulevard Temple than the United States was.
Wow.
So that's part of our history at the temple. Now, going back to my Israel program, similarly, there's an incredible experience in Jerusalem every summer called Mekudeshet. Mekudeshet means belonging, and it's an arts festival that creates site-specific performances, but somehow it expresses the soul of Jerusalem. And it's very inclusive and very embracing. There are musical performances and dance performances, and it's a really, really amazing experience that, again, you can get a taste of this year from LA. It's one of my favorite things.
You know, it's so interesting how when people think about Israel, few people realize how rich they are culturally and artistically, and how much they love the arts there and the forward-thinking kind of avant-garde artists that live there, particularly in Tel Aviv, but also all over the country. It's a very artistic place, and people don't.
But the culture is so diverse in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Among the events I've attended at Mekudeshet was an evening in a Palestinian suburb where women cooked together, and we had a meal and told us their family stories. I've had experience with an Orthodox Haredi woman who actually writes movie reviews for the Haredi community, and she was fantastic. The variety and the diversity of cultural experiences that you can have is really remarkable, and that's what's so special about Mekudeshet.
Oh, it sounds incredible. Maybe I can figure out like a trip to Israel during Mekudeshet. We could just go to all kinds of cultural experiences. That would be really
great.
I think so. Instead
of
just
culture Mavens trip.
Yeah, let's think about that. Speaking of culture, I want to acknowledge two of our incredible congregants, Claudine and Jonathan Jakubowicz, who are filmmakers. They came here from Venezuela. They're grandchildren of Holocaust survivors whose families first, fled to or escaped or moved to Venezuela. And then, the political situation became horrible there and they came up here. And they're young filmmakers and they made this amazing film. It's called Resistance. We actually showed this film the last night, a Wednesday night, before the whole temple shut down and the whole city shut down. And they came and spoke. And Jonathan told me how he wanted to make this film. It's about a young wannabe actor in Strasbourg, France, whose father wants him to be a kosher butcher like himself, who ends up joining the resistance and saving children. And it was Marcel Marceau, the mime, the famous mime. And you see him as he develops his mime in this film and helps teach the children to be quiet as they're sneaking through the forests through mime and his talent of mime. But Jonathan told me that he took it to the Hollywood studios and people, they gave him all these notes. They wanted all these stars. They wanted all these changes. And he decided, he said, no, I'm not doing that. He said, I decided, they couldn't believe it. I walked out and I raised the money myself. And he wrote the film and directed the film, Jonathan, and Claudine, his wife, produced the film. And they just won the German Film Peace Award for this film. It's a beautiful film. It's a strong film. And it's on Amazon. It's going to go into the theaters in Europe, I guess, but it's available on Amazon. It's called Resistance. And we're so proud of them. Their son is in Bowerman East. And we look forward to all their other films in the future, which we will definitely support. But it's a beautiful film.
It sounds great. I'm going to try and watch it this weekend. It sounds definitely worth checking out. My last offering for this week is a novel written by an Israeli called The Hilltop by Asaf Gavron. And The Hilltop takes place in one of those settler cities on a hill that's quasi-legal or is illegal, but because it's existed for long enough, it's quasi-legal. And the most interesting aspect of it is that Gavron shows great empathy for these people. And I found it a really eye-opening and well-written. Gavron is has been a successful translator and has written other novels. And this is a sort of big American success. And I just highly recommend it as a way to sort of broaden your mind about Israel. And it won't change your opinion, but it'll deepen your understanding.
That sounds great. I'm going to read that as well. So that's what we have this week, everyone. I hope you're watching our Elul videos every day that we are putting out. And also, I have a request. We would like to have a bunch of videos from you wishing everybody in our community Shana Tova. So if you would like to make a video, you could send it to Jody Berman. We're going to show all of them during the high holiday services. So that would be great. So you can be in a little movie at the temple.
That's really sweet. That's a really sweet idea. And again, one of the ways in which, in this pandemic, we're continuing to connect with each other, which is really lovely. So on that note, thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Susan.
Bye, Tom.